Hello, welcome back to The Running Joke with me, Zoe Lyons.
And me, Esther Manito.
And Esther's pulled out all the plugs this week when it comes to getting a guest in. She said to us, should we get some guests in? And I went, I don't know anybody, Esther. And
Zoe was like, I think my nan might be around.
Yeah, that'll be it. Well, you've only gone and got Professor Greg Whyte in with us.
Ooh.
Hello, sir.
That's an introduction. Thank
Isn't
you.
it?
Thank you.
Oh, if I was a professor, honestly,
You tell everybody.
I'd tell everybody within the first 30 seconds. I'd be like, Professor, by the way, I'm a professor.
When people say to you, Mr. What, do you go, actually, it's Professor?
It's Greg.
Oh, no.
Yeah, for sure. Why?
Okay, what about the OBE then?
Oh, no, definitely not.
No? Oh, I'd have to have a massive credit card because it would say...
Professor Greg Whyte, OBE.
Yeah. Olympian.
I would sign my Christmas cards to my partner.
Yes.
Professor
Greg, OBE. Remember who you're with, sweetheart.
Remember how lucky you are.
Yes.
Yeah. She doesn't feel that way, let me tell you.
I hope your kids have to call you...
Oh, they do.
Sir.
They doff their cap and they bow to me when they
Walk
speak.
out the room backwards,
Yeah, of course.
no eye
All of
contact.
that. Yeah, and never sit down when I'm standing.
Yeah.
Always stand.
And quite right too.
Yeah.
I hope
makes
when you
sense.
come home from a day of training celebrities to run marathons, as you walk through the door, they're all waiting in a line.
To greet me.
to take your trainers and your...
Oh, that happens all the time. It's like the sound of music in my house.
Yeah, that's how
really
I
is.
imagined it.
Yeah.
Good, I'm glad it wasn't just a fantasy. Good. We're just a couple of comedians, a couple of jokers who enjoy a run.
Applaud,
Great.
if you will.
Yeah.
But you've literally just finished working with Sarah Cox.
Yeah. So that was fun.
On a mega marathon
It
ordeal.
was, yeah. I mean, it's brutal. And it's always the interesting thing is, I mean, it was 5 marathons in 5 days.
Yeah.
One of the days was actually much longer than that, over 30-mile one of the days.
What?
But actually, the distance of the running, but the weather.
Yeah.
These things, when we do them, November, it was. I mean, at one point, I remember posting something on socials as we were going along. You couldn't hear me speaking because the 60-mile-an-hour winds and the horizontal rain and sleet was completely masking what we were saying. I mean, so it's one of those ones. It is a challenge.
Yeah.
It's not just a run.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I mean, listeners to this podcast will know I don't like a breeze. So I will go out if there's anything more than a breeze.
If
there's any life in that windsock, I'm not going out.
She does say that quite a lot because when you said I went out and did 5K down the beachfront of Brighton. She's like, I didn't like it.
Strong
didn't
breeze.
like it.
Oh.
A strong breeze.
Sarah Cox is out there running 30 miles.
Yeah.
A bit of sleet and...
Yeah.
So how do you go about training somebody? Because I believe Sarah hadn't done that much running before she did the Comic Relief Challenge.
She's done a 5K before.
That's it?
Quite some time ago, yeah.
So she's gone from that to 5
5
marathons.
marathons in 5 days, yeah.
How?
And I mean, and of course, for me, obviously, again, it's much more than that because the complexities are around the individual. So what their background is makes a difference.
Yeah.
But actually, physically, she's got osteoarthritis in one of her knees. She's got what's called a vagal gait. So as she stands, her knees come in.
Yeah.
And she'll tell you.
Is that what you call it, a vagal gait?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, yeah.
That's what I've got.
I think I might have a vagal gait.
Well, Zoe, do you want to describe to Professor Greg Whyte, OBE, as he is known to his mates?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, down the pub.
Down the pub. Yeah.
Everyone says that.
So we were trying to describe our running gait, and mine, I literally have one leg that moves and another leg that kind of just drags
Along with it, yeah.
And
it's almost pirate-like.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
And I don't move below the knee. I only move below the knee. Like the top bits don't seem to.
Yeah, like a cartoon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah.
Fred Flintstone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to do a lot of weights on my legs.
Good.
Yeah.
And it's really important.
Yeah.
And I think what's interesting is that we often, so if you think about running in general, it's all about stride length and stride rate, what we call cadence. So how quickly the legs turn over.
Yeah.
But a lot of people think, look, to go faster, you just need more strides. So you just need to increase the cadence. But the problem is that invariably when you increase the cadence, you shorten the stride. So now you're expending more energy for less speed.
Yeah.
So you've got to keep that stride length long. The problem with that is it requires a lot more strength and power.
Yeah.
So if you are weak And when I say weak, I'm talking sort of globally lower body, but also core strength and stability really matters because you've got to control it.
You see, I've been working on my core.
Good.
Because I find it easy to get the bin bags into the bin, like the big bin. If I've got,
Yeah,
I always engage my core now when I sling a bin bag. Yeah.
Well, that's good.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
Because up to about 3 years ago, I didn't have a core.
You should run your own exercise classes.
Yeah,
where it's just
The bin bag class.
Yeah.
Bin bag program.
Because we've got these
Knackered
big
women
municipal
doing
bins
knackered-
where I
Yeah,
live,
yeah.
and you've got to give it a bit of welly.
Yeah.
And I always, don't care if there's anybody around me, I always go, engage your core, fling it in. Yeah.
But what's interesting though, what I love about this is, look, activities of daily living effectively mimic what you do in the gym anyway.
Yeah.
So with you, I would do things like weighted twists to improve core, particularly obliques, the bit down the. Everyone thinks it's six pack, and actually imagine it as a cylinder. But actually, the sort of things you'll do is weighted twists.
Yeah, I see
well,
more
actually,
as
it's
a
no
keg.
different than throwing your bin bag in
Yeah,
the bin. I mean,
okay.
So, you know, so
But you're
activities of daily
right,
living are
'cause I do
great.
the cable torso twists, and that's your bin bag.
Yeah.
That's my bin bag.
That's your
See,
bin
I'm
bag,
not
yeah.
insane.
Yeah,
I'm
you're
not
not, no,
insane.
no.
Yeah.
I think you're
No.
onto something.
Yeah,
the bin bag program
There you go.
could be making a show.
Next celebrity you train for a marathon, be like, I'm going to
Right.
introduce you to something that I've.
This is novel.
Professor Zoe Lyons,
Yeah.
OBE,
Let me
bin
tell
bag
you.
slinger.
Let me
I don't
tell
know who
you.
your next celebrity would be. Let's just say it's someone, I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know. Who might it be? Let's say Ryland. Like,
Yeah.
Ryland, right, we're going to fill up a bin bag full of old fish bits.
Yeah.
And then you've got to do the
Sling it in.
the bin bag
Sling it in.
Yeah.
Now, what we do is we'll just go down a London street
Yeah.
on bin day.
Yeah.
And actually, you just got to do
That's
the work.
it.
You got to do the work. I mean, there you go. So you're actually doing a public service.
Yeah,
at
part-time
the same
council work.
time
Yeah.
as improving your
You
physicality.
you could volunteer as a bin lady.
I wouldn't mind that.
Oh, here we go.
Riding about in the back of the van.
Yeah.
I genuinely wouldn't mind that. So then how do we go from, slinging bin bags to making our legs go further?
Well, it's about strength and it's about stability.
Yeah.
And what you've got to think is that what you've got to think is lower body to some extent. Because I think often people think, well, it's all about the quadriceps.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no. I mean, the quads are critically important, obviously, but it's also about the hamstrings. Really importantly, and I think one of the things that we have in this sort of sedentary society that we live in when we spend too much time sitting is actually glutes.
Yeah.
Really important muscle when it comes to running.
So do you think it's possible to take somebody like me? Like I'm 54. I have to think how old I am. That's how I've forgotten how old I am. I'm 54.
Mm-hmm.
Is it possible for me to lengthen my stride at this point?
100%.
Is it?
Yeah, 100%.
Oh,
The human, we have this wonderful, we call it plasticity.
yeah.
The human is adaptable. But
Yeah.
what you have to do is you have to stress it
Yeah.
in order to bring about that adaptation.
Yeah.
Now, look, we are adaptable at any age. Much of what I currently do around physical activity and health, actually, we're talking about septuagenarians and octogenarians, 70s and 80s, where we can improve strength, we can improve muscle mass at that age. So actually, you're a relative youngster in that.
Thank
spectrum, But yeah, I mean,
Relative youngster.
Thank you.
to some extent, what changes is how you do it. What you would do as a 20-year-old
Yeah.
is likely to be quite different to what you do as a 50-year-old.
Yeah.
And not necessarily because your gluteus is different across that age span. It's just effectively where you've come from. What have you done? In our 20s, we're active all the time, much more active. And so therefore the step change in terms of training is very different to coming from effectively a low base to try and improve it for a very specific task.
Yes.
So you've got to do really targeted work. And also, critically as we age, the one thing that does change is our ability to recover. And you probably find that when you're out running, the next day you're like spent.
But that's that's what boggles my mind. The thought of doing, I've done 2 marathons now. The thought of doing another marathon the next day when I'm literally like,
Yeah.
I was walking. I mean, I was quite cocky after my London marathon. I did a 5K the next day.
Did you?
I ran over to my mate's house. Do you know what though? After I finished the London marathon, I went out and drank, I swear to God, 1,000 bottles of Prosecco. So much Prosecco.
So typical of people.
I mean, that's an elite athlete's rehydration regime.
But I didn't
mean, there you
even-
go.
isn't it?
You've
I didn't
nubbed it.
even get drunk. And the next day I didn't even feel it. So my metabolism must have just gone.
Yeah.
But the thought of doing, if someone said to me, you've got to do another marathon, I'd be like, how?
Yeah.
So to do 5 in a row in those conditions.
And it's a really interesting one, really. And I think, funnily enough, I was speaking to Sarah last week about this. Is that what happens when you do these big challenges? Invariably, months later, you wake up in the night and you remember something and you think, oh. And the one thing she remembers on the final day, we were talking about this last week, but one of the things she remembered, on the final day, we sat in the Winnebago about to start the final marathon. The one thing I said to her is, look, everybody that you speak to today will say to you, you're there, you've done it. You've only got one marathon to go. You look at what you've done. It's going to be easy. You've got it. What I am here to tell you is that it's utterly untrue. That what you've got to think is your longest run before you set off on this challenge was a 5 kilometre. You've today got to do 42 kilometres, having already done 4 marathons.
Yeah.
You are a long way from the finish. And
it's that kind of motivation.
Well, exactly. From the outside, you think, my God, well, how depressing is that?
Yeah.
But if you ask her, she will tell you that was probably the most important message she got that day. Because instead of starting out and getting to the first mile and thinking, well, I'm almost there.
Yes.
And, oh, no, I've still got 8 hours to go.
That's really interesting.
It changes your... And so when you say, how do you do a marathon the next day? It's because what you did is you came to the London, I'm assuming it was the London, you came to the London expecting and setting the goal of running a marathon.
Yeah.
And that was it. So once that had done, that's done. And so now, why would you run any further?
Yeah.
Whereas actually on day one of a 5-day challenge, as I always say to the guys that I'm looking after, is what matters is the final day, not the first day, not the second day, not the final day. So just think to yourself, it's just a continual effort. And after day one, you get a bit of a recovery before the effort continues.
Yeah.
And it's only on the final day that we'll finish. And so it's a mindset issue that really matters.
That's
It's
so
mindset.
interesting.
That's so true.
Yeah. I run half marathons, badly
brilliant.
and slowly.
Right.
But
you run them.
I run them, yeah.
Like you love making.
Yeah, badly, slowly and regressively.
Well,
yeah. But then I get to throw the bins out.
What a reward that is for everybody on the street.
And thank God that comes to an end too.
The whole street knows when you've had sex. Because you're out on the street throwing bags about.
The bunting's out.
Swinging them
It's
around
all
your
there.
head.
But I've always found when I'm running the half marathon, it's 13.1 miles.
Yeah.
And every time I train for one, I'm doing one in 5 weeks' time, Greg, and I'm really woefully behind in my training, and I don't know whether I'm going to be able to do it or not. But I always think I should train to 15 miles so that then there's that little mindset that I go, well, 13 will be easier than
I've
the
already
15.
done it,
Yeah.
So
the other end of that scale, though, is to think, actually, look, if I can train to 10 miles, I've only got 3 miles to go.
Yeah.
I can run 5K, basically. I've got a 5K. I can do 5K.
Yeah.
You know, so again, it's what, to some extent, it's what works for you. And understanding what works for you is really what matters. Because there's lots of people who'll give you advice about what you should do. But actually, we're all really different.
Yeah.
We're all heterogeneous in terms of our approach. And it's making sure that you adopt something that works for you. And then you're likely to be much more likely to be successful.
Is it bad to think like, a marathon's 4 10Ks?
No.
Or are you setting yourself
Brilliant
up
way.
there?
8 5Ks.
Yeah, I think it's good to break it down.
Yeah.
Do you think so?
I think so. Like, don't eat the whole elephant. That's my thing in life.
Yeah.
You know, like when you've approached admin. You know, when you've got a load of admin, you're like, God,
I'll get through one of them.
I hate admin.
Yeah.
You're like, well, I'll do one bit. I won't eat the whole elephant. I'll just do bit by bit.
Yeah.
And then it's a bit like you say when you go, I've done 3 miles, well, I'll do another 2. Well, I might as well do another 2 now. I'm here.
Yeah.
That sort of attitude.
Well, and because lots of different ways of thinking about that. But one of the things that I always do, so when we do big swim challenges, I looked after a lot of big swim challenges. Invariably, what you do is you stop every so often to feed. Okay, so across the channel, for example,
Now we're talking my language.
Channel, you stop every 30 seconds to feed. It's every 30 minutes to feed.
Every 30 seconds.
Well, the reason I
am in.
Well, the reason I say 30 seconds is because you only get 30 seconds to feed.
Right.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, that won't be a problem.
While you stop in cold open water, core body temperature's dropping.
Yeah.
And actually
Drifting.
the tides are moving you in the wrong direction generally. But the key is that the question that I always ask the guys that I'm looking after is, I don't say to them, look, can you swim another 18 miles as we're going across? I just say to them, can you make another 30 minutes? And the answer to that is always yes. Always yes. Now, the fact that they've got another 7.5 hours to do after that is irrelevant, because now it speaks to your 10K piece, is that you're just asking yourself a question, can I run the next 10K? Can I make 10K? And you think, yeah, I can make 10K.
Yeah.
So away you go. And then all of a sudden you reach the 10K, and now positive affirmation. I said I could run it, and look at that, I've run it.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to ask myself, can I run another 10K? Well, I've just run that 10K. So of course I can run the next 10K, and away you go.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden you're at 30K. You've only got 12K to go, and you're thinking, well, I can definitely do this.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And so that, I mean, what we'd call that goal setting. And I think a lot of people think goal setting is the big goal, the big long-term goal, but actually the medium-term and short-term goal. And that can come down. I set goals for the guys that I look after on individual sessions. So a session will have a goal to it. So and the great thing about that is that when you achieve that goal, that is success.
Yeah.
And that success grows day on day on day. So you start off thinking, will I be able to run the half marathon?
Yes.
Well, you do a session, you think, well, I'm getting closer. And
Yeah.
then you do 2 sessions, you think, I'm even 3. And then 2 weeks in, you're thinking, I could do this.
I've got it.
It's
Yeah.
not like I'm going to do it today, but I could do this if I keep on with this.
But that also explains why the last mile always takes 4 hours. Because in your head, you've
Yep.
switched
You've
off.
got to-
haven't you?
yeah.
You've gone,
No,
it's
that's
only the
right.
last mile. That's what, 10 minutes? And then
Yeah.
you're just like, why?
How long?
Why does it take forever?
Yeah.
When you do the Brighton half marathon, which I'm doing, I've done it a few
Oh, yeah,
times.
it's a great run, yeah.
When you turn around to do the last 3 miles home, you can see the finish for 3 miles. And
Nothing
it's,
worse.
Yeah.
and it's almost like they've got them on like they've got the finish line on wheels, and it keeps getting further and further and further. And you're like, this is the longest 3 miles I've ever run.
When I did the Brighton half, I don't know, I can't remember why, but they gave me celebrity place. And as I crossed the finish line, they went, our first celebrity across, and it's comedian Esther Manito. And literally everyone was just going, who? And
Yeah.
I stood to join in. I just stood there going, oh, who's that? Who's that? Who knows who this person is?
Yeah, but you see, what I took out of that was you were the first celebrity across the line.
Yeah.
Boom. Thank you very much. The first celebrity across the line, Esther Manito.
I mean,
First,
Yeah.
first
That's
place.
it. Winner.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
The winner.
I might have just made that up, to be honest with you. I just put that in. But the thing with the Brighton half is that you're running with the wind behind you for part of it, and then when you turn round,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
You know what
like
I've discovered
somebody's
in
just
Brighton?
pushing a frying pan into your face.
This is why I don't like a strong breeze, Greg. It's because if I find wherever I'm running in Brighton, I'm always into the wind. Like the wind seems to change with me as
Oh,
I turn
yeah.
around.
Yeah,
I'm
it
like,
can
how
feel
is
like
this
that.
even possible?
It was in my face and I was going the opposite
Yeah.
direction.
Yeah.
What's going on?
The wind is a hard challenge.
But you know what, though? Again, on this, it's all about strategy, really. So what I tell myself, and so you tell the guys that I work with, what you've got to imagine is what you want an incoming wind. You want a wind in your face.
Yeah.
Because what it's doing for you is it's lifting you off the ground and it's reducing that downward stress on your legs as you're going along.
like a hovercraft.
Exactly that. And so therefore, when it's with you, brilliant, because
Yeah.
you know it's pushing you along. When it's in your face, what it's doing is it's just lifting you, making that little bit lighter, making it easier.
That's amazing.
And just think about it differently. You know?
yeah.
Do you have to adjust the way you run in with wind against you?
No, not really. I mean, if it's an 80 mile an hour wind,
Jowls
then
are
you
going
might,
a
but-
bit. I'm like a British bulldog with the jowls going.
Well, it's like we were talking about runner's face.
yeah, runner's face.
There's this kind of rhetoric that we're, try and discourage women from running, that you get runner's face. You get a saggy old face.
Really?
yeah. Because
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I-
Is that just a kind way of saying I've got a saggy old face?
No,
you
it's not.
don't.
No,
You're
you've got a lovely face. But we
as women, we're told that if you run too much, your face will get loose and become saggy.
What a
which
load
we
of
in
nonsense
it, but
for crying
also
out loud.
It is silly.
we were like, it's not running. You're just getting older.
Yeah. Also, yeah.
It's incredible. It's
Yeah.
like, no, women just get older. So it's got nothing to do. It's just
we,
normal.
We all do. Funny
Yeah.
enough. It's a weird thing about time is that we all
Yeah.
age. Weird that, isn't it?
Do you think there's a correlation between?
Correlation. We're in a maths class.
There
now.
we go.
Oh my
I
goodness.
pulled out the big words.
Oh, blimey.
Because I've met many women my age. Sort of, I'm older than Esther. I'm 54, and I think there's like a stubbornness that comes into women my age. It's a sort of won't give up, just
Yeah.
keep plodding.
Yeah.
Do you think there is a correlation between age and determination, or?
Well, do you know what? I think what's interesting, I mean, I've looked after, so you think sport relief, comic relief, children in need. I've looked after 40 challenges. Okay?
Yeah.
So I spent an awful lot of time with celebrities, but of that, an awful lot of time with comedians.
Yeah.
And the one thing I can tell you about comedians is they are hard, and they are tenacious, and they are driven.
Yeah,
Because
it's weird, isn't it?
what a job! I mean,
Who's the most competitive? Who's been the most driven, like the most determined?
John
do you
Bishop
think?
was, hard as
Yeah,
nails. We had some
he's-
miserable weather. Eddie Izzard, we did 43 marathons in 51
He's done
days.
incredible things.
43.
You know,
Yeah.
so of the comedians, Joe Brand, she was
Yeah.
amazing. We walked from Hull to Liverpool. I mean,
That's right.
brutal,
Yes.
brutal challenge. So the fact is, is it as you get older that I would say actually that what you're probably doing is just unmasking what is innate to you, and that is that you are driven and tenacious and
You've
hardworking.
taken people that have gigged at jonglers to stags.
It's stag do's.
There's gotta be.
And, yeah, there is a sort of mental
course there is.
toughness that you need.
And you've stood there and died at times.
yeah.
You've watched it.
and-
I did a corporate with Professor Greg OBE.
yeah.
And a corporate where they're all sat around tables and no one's listening and everyone just sat down. And
Yes.
he was so sweet because literally everyone was ignoring me and he was just like,
Oh,
I was
bless.
loving it.
Yeah.
I was loving it.
Yeah.
But there's a shared empathy there because
Yeah.
on those events I host it
Yeah.
and present the prizes. There's 800 people
was
in the
it
room.
the Leisure
Yeah.
Centre Awards or something?
The fitness industry, fitness
fitness
industry.
industry.
Oh, did you
Association.
arrive on a flume?
Uh,
There's a water slide in. That's what
Yeah.
we should have done with the
Yeah,
Leisure
we-
Centre Awards.
we abseiled in.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, and again, I think the problem is with celebrity per se is that it's interesting because obviously I come from an elite sport background. It's exactly the same. Is that most people who watch don't see the journey.
No.
All they see is the end product.
Yeah.
So they see an athlete get on the rostrum, or they see an athlete racing, and that's the end product of a life of purgatory.
Yeah.
Of getting up at 5 a.m. in the pouring rain when they don't want to go, but they've got to keep going, And it's exactly the same with celebrities, that what you're doing is you're seeing the end product. You haven't seen how hard you guys have had to work in jonglers or at some, school fete where
It's so
nobody's
interesting
listening.
that. It is. Because
You
I
pretty
did
much summed up my CV.
a couple of years back when I was both available and affordable, I agreed to go on Celebrity SAS Who Dares Wins.
Oh, yeah.
And I was one of the oldest women. And they were gobsmacked. They were like, how are you keeping going? And I was like, it's just that I think it is an innate thing in us because
That's
we've
what you
driven
do.
to gigs in the middle of nowhere. It is that toughness. Yeah.
And that's what people, when you're running, when you're taking on a challenge, if it's, it doesn't matter if it's a 5K or a marathon or an ultra marathon, to some extent, at the start of that journey, it's trying to tell yourself that's what you've got, because that's all you've got to be. You haven't got to be a great athlete.
Yeah.
You haven't got to be a great runner. You've just got to be tenacious.
Yeah.
You've just got to keep going, because
Such a
if you
good
keep
word,
doing
that.
it, you will get better.
It is a good
Isn't
word.
it a good word?
That's a really good word.
Tenacious.
That's a very good word. But also, I love that idea of like you don't need to be, because what is it to say you're good at it if you just get something from it?
Yeah.
Why? Surely that's the goodness.
Yeah, that's
Isn't
enough.
it? So if I
Yeah.
can go out and plod and enjoy it and get something from it, then
Well, you've won.
yeah.
And it's one of those things that always sounds a bit trite, doesn't it? But you're a winner.
Yeah.
And to my mind, the one thing I always say, and this goes back to, when I was an athlete, I always remember a mate of mine was a much quicker runner than me. And I always remember he said to me once, he said, Whitey, he said, look, it doesn't hurt any less.
Yeah.
It just hurts for a shorter period of time.
yeah.
And I think, you watch the London Marathon, the guys coming in 6 hours, 7 hours, they are hurting just as much
Yeah.
as the winner who's coming in 2:05.
Yeah.
And for me, who's the champion there? Is the guy that endures that misery
For
for
longer.
7 hours.
Yeah.
I mean,
7 hours is a long
That's
time.
where the
Oh, to
inspiration
be
is,
out on
though,
the
isn't it?
road. Yeah.
I mean, that's the inspiration.
Yeah.
These guys are running 2 hours and they're clipping. I mean, it's amazing what they do and the speed
Yeah.
they move at. Incredible. But, after 7 hours, they're back at the hotel having lunch and,
Yeah.
and figuring out where they're going to
Cold
race next
bath.
week.
And yeah.
There is something, when like you're still running and all the people are stood by the side with their medals and you've still got hours to go and you're like,
Yeah, yeah. It's when a race map loops back on itself, and the
that's
elites
not
go
right.
past you, going the other way, and you're like, wow.
I remember I
Yeah.
raced the Marathon des Sables a
Oh
few years
yes.
back. So this is this race across the Sahara Desert, 156 miles across the Sahara Desert. And they have this particular day called Les Jours Longs, for good reason, because it's a really long day.
I've only got very basic French, but I know that means
Yeah,
a long
exactly.
day.
It was the 30th anniversary, and this one particular day that the guy that runs it thought we'll make it special, so it was 100-kilometer day. This is on day 4.
Wow.
It's 100-kilometer day, and I'm chipping along, and I was moving well, and I'm chipping along, and all I could hear was this sort of almost thunder, and all of a sudden they'd let the elites off after the main pack, and this group of about 20 elite runners just went like straight past you.
Yeah.
It was just like, what? And I honestly, I looked down just to check that I was still moving.
Wow.
Because I thought, well, I must be standing still. They're going that damn quick. And these guys just went straight past. And it's incredible to watch.
Yeah.
So again, on that, what you should never do is be disheartened by the fact that actually there are people that are quicker than you.
Yeah.
Of course there are people quicker than you. Unless you're the world record holder, there are people that are quicker than you.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line.
I've
Yeah.
been beaten on the finish line of a half marathon by a man dressed as a pair of testicles because he was running for testicular cancer, but he'd gone
Nice.
yeah.
Did you
And
check them for him? Or?
I cough. Yeah. One thing I do try and tell myself when I'm running, because I always get overtaken, is it's my race. It's my.
Yeah.
This is just
Of
me,
course it is.
and it is just my own race.
Yeah.
This is it. Yeah,
Look,
because
when
it's
push
so
comes to
easy to
shove-
get disheartened.
But when push comes to shove, nobody cares.
Yeah.
You know, not even your family care.
No, I
really.
know.
No.
Is it, you know, as we can testify.
Yeah.
But you know, the fact is that you come back and they say, "How did you get on?" I say, "Oh yeah, I finished." They went, "Brilliant."
Yeah.
And you could say a time, and they'd be like,
Great.
Yeah.
"Brilliant." You know,
Yeah.
So it's a really personal thing. I think sport in general, per se, obviously team games are slightly different, but what we call linear endurance events, so things that you do that repeats things over and over again. So cycling, running, swimming, rowing, canoeing, triathlon, those type of things. It's a really personal thing. And
Yeah.
it's personal to you. And what you're fundamentally trying to do is beat yourself. And
Yeah.
that really matters, because you beat the guy next to you. Who is the guy next? You're never going to see him again. You
Yeah.
have no idea what they do, where their background is, what
Yeah.
they've done,
Yeah.
what their journey is to get to where they are. It's
And-
all about you, really.
I think as well, when you've kind of run one, when you go and do another one, people just have it in their head like, oh, they're a marathon runner. That's it. They switch off. They're like, I've got no interest in what you're doing. So you're weirdly competing with yourself to impress people who don't care.
Yeah.
So you might as well just go and shout in an empty room. So the main, because no one's listening.
Which we've all done.
Yes.
You know, so I mean,
Yeah. You've been to one of my tour shows.
I've worked across the spectrum in a sense, from obviously some of the world's greatest athletes, but a lot of my current work research-wise is with cancer patients.
Oh,
And you think, what they're trying to do. And interestingly, within certainly some of the work that I've done, particularly my practice used to be just down the road, but we did a lot of work around breast cancer. And we used to use the Race for Life. So 5K would be the goal. That's where we're trying to get to.
Right.
5K.
Yeah.
Now, that 5K is an ultra marathon to
Yeah.
a cancer patient,
Sure. Yeah.
who is unable to get up out of the chair, at times.
That's incredible.
And we're talking to them about running a 5K, and that is so personal.
Yeah.
The idea that somebody would come up to them having finished the 5K and say, "What time did you go?" "Well, that weren't very good, was it?"
Yeah.
You only did a 5K." It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks.
No.
Yeah.
It's what you think.
Yeah.
And I think if you set the right goals and you achieve those goals, what you should definitely do is celebrate, and make sure that you do celebrate,
Yeah.
because you have achieved something.
Well, that's
You've
what I did
you've
after
achieved
the
success.
London Marathon.
18 bottles
with
of Prosecco.
18 bottles.
18.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
one way to do it. I mean,
Yeah. Good cool
I'm
down
not sure
exercise.
that would be a goal for me, just to do that.
I literally eaten nothing but jelly babies throughout
Yeah.
throughout the marathon, and then just drank 18 bottles of Prosecco and
Nice
came home and went
touch.
to bed. And then
Yeah.
the next morning woke up, and my other half was like, "How are you not hungover?" I was like, "I don't feel a smidge.
Yeah.
I don't feel anything."
Yeah.
It's
How did you
amazing.
wake up?
Yeah. Do you have, when you're doing long distances or long endurance, do you have a mantra in your head that you hang on to? I asked because I met an ultra runner once, and he'd done like hundreds of miles, and I said, "What do you think about?" because it's obviously a bit of it's distraction.
Yeah, a lot of it's distraction. Yeah.
Because the first 3 minutes of any run I do is my brain's going, why? I hate this.
Stop.
Why?
Yeah,
It's cold. I'm cold.
Yeah.
I'm too hot. I'm too
The
cold.
first mile
I'm
is
hot and
awful.
cold. Like my body's just, it's so noisy. Stop it,
Yeah.
silly. You're breathing
What
funny.
is wrong
You're
with
having
you?
a heart attack. Like, so I've got to sort of wash it out. Sometimes I make up recipes in my head. Sometimes I asked him what he did, and he said he just counts to 7 on repeat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
that
6,
would send
7.
me mad.
1, 2, 3. Actually, it's actually
does it
quite.
work?
I've used it. I go to 8 because I prefer a round number.
Well, it's because you're clever. I mean, that's what it
I
is,
can
really.
count to it.
Yeah.
But it does take your mind off it.
Is it normal that I listen to songs and imagine I'm the singer performing at the O2?
Not wrong, just strange.
Okay, fine.
Well, yeah, I mean, what you do in your personal life. I mean,
No, that's it.
and I assume you're talking about this just in
Yeah.
general life, not when you're running.
AC/DC.
Yeah,
That's who
yeah,
she's
that's it,
emulating.
I literally,
Head banging.
I put a song on and it just that distracts me.
Yeah.
I'm just like, here I am in the O2.
Much of that is what we call it displacement.
Right.
Is that one thing? It's one of those great things everyone talks about. Is that what you want to do is empty your mind.
Yeah.
Well, one thing. I mean, try it.
It's hard.
It's impossible. I mean, you just can't do it. Effectively, what you do is you create a vacuum, and because it's a vacuum, it will suck everything.
All
in
the other
around it.
horrors flow
And so
in.
eventually
Yeah.
you think, well, I'm not going to think of anything. And then before you know it, you're thinking, what time have I got to pick the kids up from school? Oh, what are we going to have for dinner tonight? It can't be done. And so what you are effectively doing is you're displacing what is, let's call it misery of running, if it is that. But what you don't want to do is leave it empty. So what you want to do is replace it with something.
Yeah.
And so that could be counting to 7. It could be listening to music. For me, I mean, it's a weird one because one of the weird ones, I do an awful lot of swimming, big distance swimming. And in there, you can listen to music. They've now sort of created earpods that you can listen to underwater. Really annoying. But for me, actually, I can't do that. And so I'll actually vary. So I'll be thinking about rhythm. So I'll be going, doo, 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 and I'll just sort of sit on that. And that's the arm rhythm. And then I'll change that to thinking about what have I got to do over the next couple of weeks at home? What's on the list? And then I'll be thinking about, I must do that. And it's just all it is actually just filling that vacuum with something. And all of that time, what I'm not doing is thinking about how much my arms hurt, how much my legs hurt, how tired I am,
So
how much further I've got
You
to go.
emerge from the water with all your admin done.
Yeah.
Done.
Literally.
It's done for a year.
Sorted. Tax returns done. Yeah.
Tax return.
I wish. Tax returns done.
Mentally.
Oh.
It's that time of year.
Yeah.
This has been fascinating. It really has. It's I feel encouraged. Thank you.
Good.
That at my age I can, because sometimes I think
What was the expression
maybe my
you
athletic
used?
years are behind me.
Plasticity.
No.
Oh, go on.
Barely elderly or something. What was-
Barely elderly.
Ben, I'm not sure I said that. You're a youngster. You're a youngster in comparison.
Professor Greg Whyte, OBE, said that you're barely elderly. No, it was something
Barely.
like, I can't remember what
was
it was.
bordering on elderly?
Bordering on
It was
elderly.
an expression. I can't remember what it was.
I think what he actually said was just about to hit my peak.
Yeah.
That's how I
Exactly.
heard it. Yeah.
Exactly.
The PBs are ahead of me.
I have had that from a few younger comics when they're like, "Oh, that's great that you can run," and you're just like, "Jeez."
Yeah,
As
yeah.
soon as you
Come on.
As soon as you hit 40, they seem to think that you should just be. It's like, do you remember that advert that Peter Kay did where he just came in and unplugged his mum's Hoover and went, "Come on, it's time to put you in a home." Just like 45.
What is wrong with you? But from a societal perspective, there is that sort of dogma that you get to generally sort of 50, you're on the scrap heap.
Yeah.
And it's a nonsense. And I think interestingly, actually, the one thing that I sort of reflect on over the past sort of decade is that movement towards age group sport, which a decade ago, certainly 15 years ago, was like fundamentally didn't exist. But now age group triathlon, age group running, age group swimming is massive. Massive. And I was at the European Swimming Champs age group last year. And it's inspiring. It's like 5,000 swimmers there, racing. But the most inspiring thing is the 85 to 89-year-old age group.
85 to 89.
85 to 89. And it was the 50-metre freestyle. One of the lads had to be helped up onto the block.
Yeah.
Okay. But he's getting on the block
Yeah.
at 89. diving off the block, and I watched the eight 85 to 90-year-olds race a 50 metres freestyle. And I just looked at it. I was in awe, absolute awe.
Yeah.
Because if you listen to what people would generally say, well, they should be in a home or they should be dead.
Yeah.
And here they are actually racing.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's amazing. It's amazing though, isn't it? And so for me, I think always, am I too old?
Yeah.
Nonsense.
No, if you can
Never
do
too
it, do
old.
it.
Yeah.
I'm much fitter now than I was at 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Much
Yeah.
fitter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
So I think, well, maybe in the next 10 years I can really hit it.
Get even fitter.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah.
be there. We'll be out there.
I'll be out there.
I'll be out
on
there.
the course eating
When you
something.
when you worked with Eddie Izzard, were you with him for all 43?
Not all of them, no.
No,
So,
okay.
but generally with the guys, I am with them all the way.
Right.
But because I do all that stuff for free,
Yeah.
and so it was 2 months out, and I've
Yeah,
sadly
yeah.
got to work and pay the bill.
Yeah.
So it makes it quite difficult. A week out is not not too bad. But Eddie's a great example of that about a tenacity
Yeah.
of an individual just to keep going.
Yeah.
When everything is saying to you, what?
Stop,
Why am I
stop.
doing?
Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
it all about? Why am I keep going? And you just keep it. And I often say to people, John Bishop, sort of why part of his recent set in his stand up was abusing me because I think the best bit of advice I ever gave him was, and I give it to everybody, is look 1 foot in front of the other. Because every stride is a stride closer to the finish.
That is what I'm going to have in my
that's,
head.
That's the one thing to think. And he said to me, he makes it comedic by saying, a professor of physiology, the best advice he can give me is put 1 foot in front of the other.
Yeah.
Like, what? But actually,
It works.
when you're thinking about it, when you're out running, that's all you got to do.
Yeah.
And the other, certainly in my mantra, the one thing to think about is, look, if you can keep running, you'll get to the finish that much quicker than if you walk.
Yeah.
So if you can run, keep
it.
running, because it means you'll have a pint in your hand 10 minutes before you would if you start walking.
Yeah. And also it's
going.
quite hard to start walking when you've been running for so long.
Yeah.
And then to get
Then your
running
legs
again.
are like,
Oh my God. Yeah. No, you can't.
Just keep going.
keep
yeah,
going.
you might as well just keep going. Just keep
Be
going.
your Dory. That's the thing.
Thank you so much for coming.
Well, it's been
this
a
has
pleasure.
been so
Thank you
insightful.
so
It's been
much.
really inspiring as well, and it's 1 foot in front of the other. And tenacious is going to be
Yeah.
my word of the day.
Word of the day.
Yeah.
We're going to have to team tenacity.
Team tenacity. That's it.
Because we're going to run
Tendinitis and tenacity. That's what we've got.
tendinitis and tenacity. We're going to go and do the Rome half marathon.
Oh, magic.
I'm going for the ice cream.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going dressed as a gladiator. We've discussed this.
Well, I think
yeah,
you should.
Yeah, I think
you
so.
should.
Full armour.
That makes absolute sense. Are you going like as a chariot or the horse?
That's
you
what
could
we
be
said.
the horse and
Thank
chariot.
you, the second person to have said that. Yes,
you go.
yes. And
There you
I'm
go.
on
doing
board
it.
with
You're
this idea.
You're not up for
Yeah.
it.
No, not up for it. I'm
Oh
not
well,
dressed
we'll
in
discuss that later.
Okay.
Well, God,
Anyway.
friends, eh? Not like you
on-
used to be, are they, friends?
on hobby horse.
Yeah, hobby horses.
No,
That's how
on
it-
a space hopper.
That is a sport in itself, but that's a different podcast. I'm afraid we have to leave it there. But this has been brilliant, and I know lots of people listening to this will have taken loads of stuff away from
good,
that
I'm
and
glad.
be positive mindsets and working on their tenacity.
And when I said to the ladies that I run with that you were coming on the pod, they were very excited.
Yeah.
The ladies. The ladies.
Now
the
you
ladies
can
of
put them right.
Woodford.
Now you can
Yeah.
put them straight. I say, no, you shouldn't be excited.
It's been an absolute pleasure
Oh, it's
meeting you.
my
Thank
pleasure.
you for sharing all of your brilliant advice, and see you out on the course.
See you out there.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.